Hello, everyone, and hello, Pranav. To review the fifth day of the fourth test at Melbourne of this edition's BGT. I know we are speaking on the note where we do not want this result. Maybe a draw could be the second best or the best result possible. But anyway, any first thoughts, Pranav, before we go into the details of analyzing how the day went by?
I think this is actually true sport in general for everyone because we were expecting something not to happen, but you just let it slip away from you, and the opposition just snatches that out. And that's what the sport is played for. Perhaps you just realize that nothing is to be taken for granted because I was uh, pretty certain that we'd draw this game, but then. Um, the sort of start that we had, I didn't have any sort of hopes. But then the wicketless session, everything. Yeah, I mean, credit to Australia for what they did, but that's Test cricket for you. That's sport for you. I just enjoyed watching how the waves rode today.
Ebbs and flows.
But through the Test match, in fact. But I think what shows to us is that this team has got character because from 191 for six to getting it to day five takes immense effort, nothing taken away from Australia, but it takes a lot of effort to actually get a test match to 5 days because you can punch and then you receive counter punches, but then for us to punch back, it takes a lot of guts, and I'm very proud of the team overall. But yeah, there are little things that we need to be better at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a very good viewpoint, Pranav. Uh, it seems you're very optimistic, and you are going optimistic into the fifth test, and hoping that we will equal the series and draw the series and retain the BGT. However, we'll come to the overall 5 days and analyze the performances over the 5 days. But if you start with the day five, right? I think we started the day five at a very good note. The first hour was negotiated really very well by both the openers. And it was also pleasing to see that Rohit, after having like the worst phase of his career in tests, was still ready to fight it out, dig it in, and try at least. And Yashashvi was doing what he does the best. He was up for the challenge. He is definitely showing us what kind of test batsman he is, and is currently our safest bet. So I think we did start at a good note. I believe that it was definitely a sucker punch by Cummins to constantly bowl outside the off stump to Rohit. Rohit then started looking really good the previous over before he got out and punched a few off drives off him. I could also see the pull shot coming in on a couple of occasions as well. However, I think then after that, Cummins used all his experience and bowled a fuller delivery coming inside, to which I think Rohit got sucked into and howled a catch. But but I think at least Rohit tried, and for that I'm not as disappointed as I am with some of the other batsmen who threw their wicket today. Um, and I'm only singling out the performance of Rohit in this innings, not taking the baggage of his earlier 9 or 10 innings where he's got probably single digits scores. I'm not referring to them. I'm just looking at and assessing the situation for him today, and he really tried honestly, but it did not come off. And then once that was done, the champion bowler Cummins that he is uh, brought in another feather from his vast experience to get out KL cheaply, and I think that was the first blow that we received. And then from then on, right, the chances of a victory to a possible draw um, rose more, and then ultimately, like you said, we moved from 0 wickets in the first 15 overs to possibly 33 for 3 after Kohli's wicket, and then we again came back, and then we again lost it completely. So I think it was a mixture of ebbs and flows. But having said that, any comments on the way Kohli got out and what's next for him in Test cricket?
I think it's a mental thing. I mean, I before this test, I had put out a tweet where um, I was analyzing his technique in the 2016 England series at home,
Mm,
especially the test at Wankhede where he got a double hundred. Uh, he was able to move back and across and then go outside the off stump to play those cuts. So technically, if you're able to play cut shots quite nicely, um, you're able to get more on top of the bounce. So, for example, if somebody like Steve Smith, he does play that odd drive, but what
mm,
makes him a better batter is he's able to play those cut shots and get those runs on the V behind him. So, not just about the cuts, the flicks as well. But Kohli doesn't have the cut shot, or
yeah,
or rather, he has curbed himself from playing that cut shot, and hence the pressure on cover drive is a little more. And I think he's got out like 5 times to balls outside the fourth stump,
stump, yeah,
and that's majorly a technical flaw that a lot of us are talking about on Twitter. That his speed doesn't really move towards the ball quite a lot. What lies ahead of him in Test cricket, I think, couple of at least one cycle of Test cricket he can play. Um, because the age is on his side, fitness is on his side. The toes are on his side. He has an England Test series later in this year. Then he has a West Indies home series. I think Sri Lanka are also coming. And then you have New Zealand away tour where you can create history by winning for the first time in New Zealand. So as a player, a lot beckons for Kohli if he is able to rectify the technical flaw that we are talking about. I can't go in a lot of details because it involves some more research. So maybe the next time we speak, I can try and dig in a bit more. But as a Kohli fan, I'm pretty disappointed at how he's chasing balls outside of stuff, where his speed doesn't go really towards the ball. Talking about the first hour, I think it went our way. I mean, I like the way Rohit applied us himself. And it sort of shows that he is willing to improve. It's not that he's rigid. He could have got out playing the same shot just like the first inning, but he curbed his natural instincts to leave the ball alone. Uh, and I think overall, I can see the fuming around of about this loss, but this loss was somewhere coming, right? In Test cricket for me. It's very simple that uh, you know, once you're behind, you do that catch up game. It's very difficult to actually come back like something. I mean, what Ben Stokes did in Headingley is something very mad. That and what GABA happened in 2021 is very mad. But in general, the Test cricket template is if you're behind, catching up is quite some difficult task. But India actually caught up really well. Uh, if you talk about the first innings, after conceding a 105 run lead, you had them at 91 for 6.
mm,
Um, and in a similar situation in the first innings, you had them at 311 for 6. So the problem for India is not really their batting, it's a team problem where they are letting away the key advantages. I mean, from 311 for 6, if you're conceding 164 runs or 163 runs for the loss of 4 wickets, that's probably not right. You're doing something wrong, which needs to be rectified as a team.
mm,
Because look at the field that Pat Cummins set for uh, Washington Sundar onwards, even for Nitish Kumar Reddy, versus the field that Rohit set for Scott Boland and Nathan Lyon's partnership. that tells us quite some story, right? That's where the difference is. And I think uh,
Mm,
tactically we have been very poor. Tactically, Australia have been far more superior than us, and that's why they deserve to win. There's no harm in accepting that Australia were the better side and they won. But I can understand the outrage that's happening around Rohit's form that he's only scored 31 runs in this Border Gavaskar trophy. But I can also understand why uh, this loss hurts a lot because we have not lost a Boxing Day test in about a decade's time. This is the first loss for us. But
absolutely.
probably we need to understand that this team will cop more losses because it is in transition. We have to accept that this will happen.
Mm,
In fact, I was just wondering after the second session if these two bat for another hour, we might achieve the target. But that's what Test cricket is. I mean, I was on the high of that partnership. It just took one reckless shot from Rishabh Pant to bring me down to that downfall where you see the team bundling out for another 50 odd runs. And it so happens with us always that Test cricket is something that shows you where you are. That's what I said in the beginning as well. So credit to Australia again, but India have a lot of work to do. The WTC qualification is still in their hands. Border Gavaskar Trophy is still in their hands.
yeah,
Uh, of course, luck has to favor them, but they have to also create their own luck.
absolutely. And talking about uh, again coming back to the point between Rohit and Kohli, right? These are basically the two topmost talking points right now. And now before we go there, right? So on the image that we saw right in the social media where probably Boland received a spread out field compared to what they did to our tail end batters, right? I think I have a counter in that. Maybe that happened with Rohit because the runs were also there on the board. There were about 270 runs already, and then there was a situation where if the Australians, the tail gets another 20-30 runs in quick succession trying to hit the spinners out of the park, maybe that would have been a little bit more of a problem for, and then probably he would have been accused of going for an aggressive field and then uh, leaking runs. Maybe that is the reason why he went with a more conservative approach of going with an inside out field. And also sometimes,
I
right,
mean,
it's not just the captain, but it's also sometimes the bowlers or the senior members of the team, right, who could possibly even
I
uh,
don't mind being hit for 20 runs and getting that last wicket than allowing the batters to play 100 balls each.
mm,
That's like basic cricket common sense
yeah,
because
but then yeah,
there is a huge difference between chasing 340 and chasing 290. So you
exactly,
were at
absolutely.
275 when Pat Cummins got out. So even if they had scored 20 runs by edges or by some luck, I would have taken it. I mean, 40 runs makes a lot of difference. Obviously, you might have batted at the twilight period, but you are skilled
Mm,
cricketers. You should be able to negotiate that phase. You should not be afraid. I mean, Rohit goes very defensive too early, is what I think, because he's not a
mm,
great red ball captain. Uh, and I'll also say this on air that Gautam Gambhir is not a great red ball coach either.
mm.
These two's best formats are white ball. Um, I also put out a tweet saying it's best that still have some time before the England series, just change the coaches a bit and see what happens.
Yeah,
Because
no,
yes, the
that
staff is top notch, but I don't see them lasting quite a long because you have a lot of important tours coming up, England, New Zealand, where you have the chance to create history. Um, but if you're timid like this, then you'll go down losing 5-0 for fun. So, yeah.
yeah. Now, taking cue from your point about red ball cricket versus the white ball cricket, right? Now, the original question that I asked you about the longevity and the future for Virat Kohli. Hello, welcome, Sagar. Great to
Hi,
have
hi.
you again. Yes.
Hi, Amir. Hi,
So,
Pranav.
hello. So we were talking, Sagar, about the first session, the first hour. of today, and we spoke at length about what's the future for Virat Kohli. He has been getting out, playing a similar shot for a long time now. But what's the future for him? Because we see that he's got fitness on his side. He's got a little bit of age as well on his side. Obviously, he's the best batter in the world, so he deserves at least one single WTC cycle. Now, I asked specifically to Pranav only about Kohli because with respect to Rohit, right? What I feel is in the red ball cricket, he is not a great test match player. He's not.
Yeah.
He's a good test match player. Um, he was brought into the side. He made a comeback as an opener, did well in the home series, almost Bradman-esque performances. And then he did well in the overseas series in England just after the COVID, where he was very consistent along with KL Rahul and hit that famous century and got us back into the test series. That he did, and then there were a couple of very important knocks, one against England and one against South Africa in the home soil again, where he negotiated the spinners really well and almost single-handedly won us a couple of test matches. So on back of that, he was obviously truly, for the first time in his career, back as a test player. But if you compare Rohit Sharma with the likes of Pujara, Rahane, and Kohli, he certainly is not as good a test player as the other three names that I mentioned. That's why I don't see him prolonging his test career as much as I want to see Virat Kohli prolonging his test career, because there is still something left in the tank to deliver in the next 2 3 years. There is fitness, there is willingness to do that, but somehow that flaw outside the off stump, right, is not something that can be corrected at this stage of his career. But there is a way to mitigate it, and that's what Pranav said. He probably does not have a back foot play outside the off stump. The cuts are missing, like probably someone like Rahane plays, someone like Smith plays, but there has to be a counter to that flaw in your technique to to start making more consistent runs. I mean, and I'm not going to use the word bore, but he has started to bore us with getting those dismissals. I'm not happy to use the word both, but that's what is happening right now in more recent times. And we are
Mm.
constantly throwing away the advantage that the bowlers give it to us by making the same mistakes again and again. Any thoughts, Sagar? And then we would probably proceed with the partnership between Pant and Jaiswal. Well, it looked like Jaiswal was being tuitioned by Pant on how to play compact cricket, and then we saw what Pant did. But we'll come to that. But Sagar, over to you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, see, Rohit, you are very much right. He was never a, what you can say, a big asset when it came to Test match cricket. It's just that he's played a few crucial innings here and there, but other than that, as a pure Test batter, he has never staked a claim as such. Just that uh, the all format captaincy going over to him after
Hmm.
Kohli, and then him being a very uh, a phenomenal IPL captain, and then his success in the white ball. Okay, and we've had cricketers. India has had cricketers like this who have been absolutely, you can say one of some of the best when it comes to white ball cricket, but never had a considerable, what you can say, a significant test career. And Yuvraj Singh is another example, an
Yuvraj Singh,
absolute
yeah.
match winner when it comes to white ball, but never clicked with red ball. And Virat Kohli, see, along with his fitness, there are there are a few things which are working for him to prolong his career, and I think one of them is a lot of money, a lot of endorsements, riding on his screen presence. Okay, but yeah, so I mean, uh, let's keep these things aside. He for me, I think even this series, and I think Pranav made this point yesterday also. He's not done a lot wrong, or he hasn't looked uncomfortable in this series, or he hasn't been troubled by bowlers. Uh, his wickets, or wherever he's gotten out, is only and only attributed to his own uh,
He's
wrongdoing.
giving the
Nothing
wickets.
else.
He's
Nothing
blowing the
else.
wickets.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
He, from now on, he should be known as Virat Sharma. Actually,
And yeah,
No,
I mean,
so
see,
basically it's a
Kohli
technical
in
issue, right? As I mentioned, you don't have that offside play where you play the ball of one length, and then what the bowlers do is they'll make them leave those balls of a length, then just bowl one gentle full
correct,
outside the
correct.
offside.
This is an absolute fantastic point, Amay, what Pranav is saying. What people, or what the narrative, which is going on, that okay, there is no problem with his technique, it's all in the mind. Okay, that's the narrative. Okay, but if we see, if you keep all the narratives aside, be very very unbiased, and you actually see what's going on with his game. Okay, then these points which Pranav is making will come about, that his back foot play has uh, completely gone away. The cut shots, or even one of the most productive shots in Test cricket, or in cricket in general, just the glide down the third man, when you open the face and the ball just runs away through the gully, third man region for runs. He just doesn't have that. Okay, and we saw what happened in India. His game against spin. Okay, of course he's getting out all the edges and all that, but if he faces spin right away, when he comes to the crease, he's again clueless against spin. So yes, I mean, mentally, there could be something, but people should now, not hide behind the fact that there is an issue with the technique. It's. I completely agree with Pranav. It's a technique issue. It's no more in the head only. Yeah, Pranav. Sorry.
No, so I think if we talk about Rohit as a cricketer, I'll turn my clock and sticking to Test cricket. I'm not talking about white ball at all. Uh, the scenario in which Rohit was made the captain, there are two aspects. One is um, they were looking for someone for a longer term and not for shorter terms. So there were actually two options. One is Ajinkya Rahane, obviously was the designated vice captain, but then his form was not on his side. So he and Pujara were dropped eventually when Rohit was made the captain. So uh, the problem with us as a test side is that the previous management, that is Rahul Dravid, Paras Mamre, and the other coaches, did not focus enough on red ball cricket. If you go back to the even the management before, Kohli and Shastri had Rahul Dravid at the NCA preparing fast bowlers and going for 8 overs.
Hmm.
When it came to the Dravid management, they only focused a lot on white ball cricket because of the 2023 ODI World Cup. They developed a fabulous white ball side, and with the red ball side, they gotten away with not having enough overseas tests, and hence the need of fast bowlers was not there at all. Because when it came to the England series in 2024, you had Ashwin Jadeja performing that at their regular levels, and the Indian talents like Dhruv Juresh, Shubman Gill, Jaiswal flourished. Rohit hit a couple of centuries. Um Jadeja did what he does best with the ball, and Bumrah was obviously around. So you did not have the need to get fast bowlers, and suddenly now you're searching for fast bowlers who can give you
Hmm.
wickets, who can support Bumrah. And that is where I think it's not a fault of this management, but the previous one which carries forward, right? We have not given enough chances to this management to actually have their hand on the set of players that they want to have. And that's the reason why this team looks sort of clueless. And that's why I appreciate Gautam Gambhir on bold calls where he got Nitish Kumar Reddy on this tour. Because that is his call. That is Rohit's call. Because they want someone who can bat and give you 10 overs a day. It's a different story that Rohit doesn't trust him with the ball enough.
Hmm.
Uh, on the other hand, you see Travis Head was trusted enough by Pat Cummins today. Labuschagne was trusted enough by Pat Cummins today. So that those are the little differences where we uh, fail to seize or capitalize moments or control the flow of runs and then create pressure to take wickets. So not trusting your fifth and sixth bowler actually costs us this game big time. You're not bowled Washington Sundar quite a lot. Then why did you pick him? Because he can bat.
Yeah.
That's actually meaning that you don't trust your bowling, you don't trust your batting enough. So how do you inspire confidence in your side? Nobody knows. So that's the sort
I
of
think the
problem that we are going
selection,
through.
the selection
Yeah.
of Washington over Gill is purely a reflection of what the management looks at the batting, because
Yeah,
there are so many chinks in the
100%.
armor in the top four that it basically makes you believe that if there is a
And
collapse, then
and it
there has to
affects
be
KL
some.
Rahul, right?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
affects KL Rahul big time because he
Big
was
time,
opening the
big time.
batting. He was really scoring runs. He was in that zone of mind where he was just leaving balls for fun and scoring runs. But now you have pushed him down to three. And now see what it does to him.
Yeah.
You have 1 wicket down. It's a big difference when you're opening the batting versus you're 1 wicket down because you have the pressure of seeing the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So it is a human instinct, right? When you don't have a fixed order for a particular batter, you're not able to back him for some or the other reason. Then it is your fault. Right? It
no,
is it is the
but
management's
Pranav,
fault that what the communication
Pranav,
is.
on this point, right? I think the team did, or the team management did try to stick with the batting order, because if you see the pink ball test, right, Rohit did not open, so he did.
No,
But then
that's no, no,
eventually
no.
there was.
So no, no, no. That's because Rohit's technique versus pink ball is quite poor. There is a very detailed article on this on which I read on Twitter that his numbers versus pink ball is quite poor. So when you're at six, you're not actually batting in that period where the ball moves quite a lot
Mhm.
versus how KL Rahul is batting, opening the batting. And he was in form from Perth, so they just tried to carry that on. And eventually they carried it forward on in Gaba as well. But then they realized that probably it's not the right move to have KL Rahul opening the batting with Jaiswal because you needed a solid number three. Because if two of your top three are not scoring runs, what effect does that have on the team? We saw in the first three tests. They were bowled out for under 150.
Mhm.
So what they wanted to do was they wanted to send Rohit up and maybe get a few boundaries, get a 40 odd start, and then send KL Rahul so that it sends some stability through the lower middle order as well. It sort of worked in the first innings. I'm not saying it didn't work, but that's not right. It's very harsh on KL Rahul because his career has been stop start not only because of his inconsistency, also because of the consistencies shown from the management. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you are asking him to keep wickets, sometimes you are asking him to open the batting, sometimes you are asking him to be at silly point, bat at number six. I mean, I don't know what is going on with him as a player because his future as a batter, he's looked all class apart. Where opening the batting. So why are you touching him? I don't
No, but then see that there is where there are a lot of theories that are talked about on the social media by the experts, where they say that, you know what, if we bring in or continue with KL Rahul opening the batting, then it's more to do with recency bias, where you're saying that okay, KL did well in a couple of tests, so let him continue, let Rohit be at the number six position. But then there was also a
That
counter
should have been
argument to
done
this,
in Adelaide, right? That should have been done in Adelaide itself.
right? But then that's what I don't think the numbers of
Then why do you
the
carry
ball.
Abhimanyu
The,
Ishwar? That's the other question.
yeah.
So if
But
you're trusting
I don't
Rohit
think the
Sharma quite
team.
alone,
Hmm. I mean, I obviously just to counter, right, what I want to think is I don't think the team management is really looking at the numbers specifically for a pink ball test and think that whether KL Rahul would be more suitable for you at number two or opening, and then bring Rohit down. I think it was also a combination of keeping the same opening order. Then probably you have a new player who's not played the first test, who maybe needs some time at the middle. So let's give him the respite or some cushion there by making him play with the slightly old or semi-new ball. But obviously none of it worked. Our openers have not worked. Probably the only place where KL Rahul needs to try out himself is the number four position now. Uh, well, but
I don't
Nee,
think
so
I don't think Anik is. anything is changing for Sydney. So, I mean, no
Yeah,
hopes on that
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Sorry, Sagar.
Sydney, I
The
think.
worry for me now, the worry for me and in the Sydney test is that Washington might lose his place to fit in Gill, which I don't want
No,
that to happen.
so in Sydney, you have to play two spinners. Otherwise, there's no use of this
Yeah,
combination. I'd seriously stick to the same 11.
agree.
Uh, Maybe I drop Siraj for Prasidh Krishna, uh,
Hmm.
irrespective of what he has done in the second test. But apart from that, the 10 pick themselves ideally. Where do they bat? That I don't know. That we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Rohit can be pushed down to three because KL and Jaiswal are giving us enough starts. Maybe that could be one of the moves that can work in Rohit's favor. I'm pretty sure Sagar is
Also
trying to
my
say
kind of
something.
yeah.
No, no. So I was actually very. I mean, and the other day in one of our previous discussions, we had this point being very very elaborately discussed. Ame, of Rohit opening and then
Correct, correct.
maybe going down at six and then again coming back to open. And I'll stick to what I mentioned then also, that you should have had a game plan right up from the start, okay? And if your captain is your regular opener, whatever be his record, whatever be his current form, if he is your test opener, if your captain is your opener, and he is not available for one test, he comes for the second test, irrespective of what has happened in the first test. He has to come out and open, okay? Otherwise, the clear message is that you're saying he is currently not good enough to open. Rahul has shown some promise there, and we know Rahul can open, so we are opening with Rahul, and we are
Also,
shielding Rohit. The message, I mean, it was, I don't know, whatever was the cricketing logic behind that, from a confidence point of view, from what message it sent across to Australia, it was a very poor call. I feel it was a very poor call, and as
also as a
Pranav mentioned, it has messed up KL Rahul's head like anything.
slightly, yeah. And as a KL Rahul supporter, right? What I feel is that the Sydney Test is really very important for him. If he
Yeah.
scores runs in the Sydney Test, big runs, it will be really important
Where
for
does he
him
bat? That is
and
the
the
question.
Indian
Yeah.
Where does he
This
bat?
this entire series, is very important for KL Rahul, and Pranav. We have seen what he's been through as a cricketer, what he's been through over the last year or so. Absolutely poor form, no luck. Even in the practice game, we saw how he got out. He was trying to leave a ball.
Ball of a
The ball,
spinner.
yeah, the ball snuck through his legs, and he got clean bowled. And we remember, I mean, we were having a discussion about this on our WhatsApp group. Ki, matlab, by it has now become time to start trending. Thank you, KL Rahul,
Thank you, KL.
kind of
Thank you,
thing.
Rohit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
he's topped all of us big
no, no,
time.
no. So that ability was always there, Pranav. ठीक है, and that is the reason I say उसके लिए ये series बहुत ज्यादा important था. ठीक है, और अभी भी है. Sydney, I'm saying again, he is very very critical. But again, if his position is not being stable, it messes up your head like anything. क्योंकि बहुत going to bat at 0 for 0 and then going to bat at say 10 for 1 is a different ball game altogether. Different,
It is
totally
different,
different
yeah,
ball game.
Yeah,
because the bowlers are on top.
Yes.
You are looking at different combinations. Maybe there's a matchup against you. So a lot of things go against you when you're batting at three. That's why I have big respect for Pujara and Dravid because
I,
they did something very unthinkable. But
yeah. Also,
looking at
also the
what
fact that
holds
hmm. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, so looking at what holds ahead for Rohit, what I'd like to see him do is probably play the England series because going around the country is now the best bet in England, purely in England, because he's done it in England. He has that ability to tweak, but not as a captain. Just relinquish the captaincy role because I think it adds a lot of more pressure onto him. And he can then just play the Champions Trophy freely. just lead the ODI team, or even maybe there are no ODIs, I think, after Champions Trophy. So maybe just relinquish, I won't say test cricket, but just give up the captaincy role throughout. Just end it on
Yeah,
a
but
high
Pranav, tell me, what is stopping us from, going with Ishwaran instead of Rohit, even in
his
England for that
technique is
matter?
not sound for Australia. So I
No,
was
no,
speaking to
not
Bharat
Australia.
Ramraj on Twitter.
I'm talking about England. You were talking about England and why Rohit
Yeah,
would be
okay.
needed there.
In terms of England, look, there are plenty of openers going around. So one is obviously Jaiswal. You cannot pick him out after this test because
No, no, no.
that will be
He's yeah,
criminal that he has scored 250s and 100 in the series already.
yeah, yeah.
Um, the second choice for me would be KL Rahul again, purely because of his technique to leave balls outside the off stump, because it will not be easy conditions in England.
Hmm.
Third opener for me would be Abhimanyu Ishwaran, purely on the merit of the numbers. Now, assuming that
Hmm.
Rohit retires after Sydney, because I read a Times of India report saying
Yeah.
Rohit calls it off after Sydney. Um, Ishwaran is actually technically very sound, but his problem is against the moving ball, he obviously falls over a lot. I mean, I'll have to again dig in a lot of footage to know the technical issues, but if somebody is bowling around the wicket, his head falls over a lot more than it should as a left-hander. So
I think same
that
is the
is
issue
that
with
is the
Padikkal.
problem.
Same is the issue with Padikkal. I feel.
No, but
Uh,
Padikka's height saves him a lot. Ishwaran is
hmm.
not that heighted,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it is a technical flaw which they might be working on. I don't know, but again, I'm not a batting coach to have a master class here, but that's the problem that I've identified uh, watching the Dulip Trophy footages. So you give him one in swinger, then his speed doesn't go anywhere. Then he just goes for the booming cover drive and gets one edge.
Mhm.
So that is
Hmm.
that is the major issue that I see, but that can be worked upon. If Virat Kohli's technique can be worked upon, this can also easily be worked upon. Looking at Sydney, I think nothing is lost. 2-2 is the best result for everyone. You retain the BGT. Of course, you rely on Sri Lanka to do a 1-0 or a 2-0 for us to take to the WBC final, but it's still in our hands. It's not all lost.
Yeah. We'll come to that, Pranav. We probably are jumping the gun a little. However, I personally feel that KL should jump from that rut of being in the mid 30s and 40s, averaging every series. Uh, Something similar to Murli Vijay, never averaging more than 50 in any of the series he played for the country. Hope that we are able to utilize the technique, the talent, and the temperament that KL has, and he becomes a more regular test batsman at a more regular test batting position. So hope that happens. When it comes to Rohit, obviously the future is not looking very good for him as a test batsman. Even though his latest string of single-digit performances are only matched by Virat's single-digit performances in the 2024-2025 series, barring Virat's 100 and 170, I think. Uh, the performances have been really similar. So, having said that, Virat still shows that he has future for India as a test batsman because of so many different points that we have spoken. And he's a great. He's a great. He needs to be there. Like probably how maybe we needed Sachin Tendulkar, maybe until 2011 in the test team. We require Virat in the test team until he has enough in himself and enough belief in himself. Now, coming to the little phase in today's day, right, where we thought that Pant and Jaiswal were taking us home by securing a draw. Any first thoughts on what Pant was coaching around, and have you seen that for the first time, or have you seen Pant really good compact in his defense earlier as well?
So, Amay Pant had never had a very circumspect defense, to be honest. मतलब उसका ऐसे नहीं था, लास्ट सीरीज में भी हमने देखा था, वो लोगों ने पूरा उसका स्टोरी बनाया है. इट्स अगेन, सी टुडे ना वी आर
Agreed.
लिविंग इन अ एज ऑफ नैरेटिव्स, है ना. पंत अनकन्वेंशनल प्लेयर, ही प्लेज दो स्कूप्स एंड ऑल दैट. अरे भाई, ऐसा नहीं करके वो 97 जो मारा है उसने, ऐसा करके नहीं होता है. Until and unless you have a sound technique and a sound defense, you cannot get those runs, that is for sure. ठीक है. And he has scored runs in England, he scored runs in Australia, his scored runs in India also on difficult wickets, on turning wickets, where other batsmen were even struggling to put bat to ball. Okay, so so let's keep that aside. Let us absolutely not get into the thing that he does not have a tight defense or he does not have the technique. It is again his, with Pant. It is all about shot selection. It is about what he decides to do with that ball. Okay. So yeah, about him coaching Jaiswal, and or rather, see, he's been like that. And Pant, for me, if you ask me, he is the next leader in this side. Okay, he has that kind of acumen, he has that kind of what do you say, personality, who can lead the side. But then he will have to now learn to get out of that, the whole narrative that the media and his fans have created for Pant. It is now his, the onus is on him, his responsibility to get out of that narrative. Okay, to not play that shot very early. Okay, or to avoid that, so it's that cricket is a percentage
Yeah.
game. And when I say percentage game, तो परसेंटेज गेम का मतलब ही वो है कि तुमको उस शॉट के लिए कितना परसेंट सक्सेस है, और उस सिचुएशन के लिए कितना परसेंट वो शॉट का डिमांड है. ठीक है. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट परसेंटेजेस. तो वो रीड करना, once that comes to him, okay, and you look at all his innings, wherever he scored big runs, they have come with fearless batting, but fearless, um, straight bat, fearless, hitting down the ground, going down the pitch, or
Calculated.
playing cricket shots, calculated risk cricket shots, and not those fancy ones. Okay, today the way he got out, um, again, avoidable shot. Okay, but I feel the shot was on. I feel the shot was on. Just that, वो it is all about angles यार. वो थोड़ा सा, he could have just maybe hit it slightly squarer, and that the ball could
Wasn't
have
it a
just traveled
toppage?
into the mound.
I think I thought it was a
Exactly,
toppage.
top edge. हाँ, मतलब वही है. I
थोड़ा सा.
मतलब people are blaming him for that shot. His shot in the first innings was, as it has been famously put by Sunny Ji, stupid, stupid, stupid.
Stupid.
That shot was stupid, no doubt. But this, आज जो shot खेला है, the shot was on. It was a rank short ball, एकदम आधे wicket पे गिरा था ball. वो shot on था.
But
Just she was
but the
unlucky.
question is, Sagar, was it
Yeah.
required? Was it required at that point when you still have 30 overs in hand?
No,
I
I
It
mean,
I
was
if you have to answer that question,
30
it
30
is what makes him Pant,
मिनट
right?
बाद खेलता.
But, no, I mean, he tried it in the first ball of the over. If you go back to the first ball of Travis head over, वो भी short delivery ही था, and he pulled it to mid smash for a single. Now the
no.
only difference is he wanted to
Yeah.
play an attacking shot to unsettle the plan, and that it is just a matter of timing. Right? Had he timed it better, it would have
Yeah.
gone for six and would have been celebrating that shot. It is that difference that makes him fun because that's his natural game. Of course, he needs to develop situational understanding कि ये shot का अभी जरूरत है या maybe I'll curb it
Exactly.
for the
That's what I'm
next
saying.
over या कुछ. But the
That's what I'm
problem
saying.
is, if we go back to the Gabba innings, the image that is behind you, Omerada, um, Tim Payne missed a stumping of Nathan Lyon, where Rishabh Pant was halfway down the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the next ball, he again attempted the shot and got a
Same thing.
six.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is what makes him Rishabh Pant. So we
Yeah.
have to live with the fact
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
he is a risk and reward cricketer. It is, there are no two ways about it, and there is no point of curbing him from doing that. But he'll also have to be aware of what the scoreboard is. That is all he needs to do. He can
Scoreboard and
continue
situation
playing
in
his
general.
shots,
See, the
Situation.
point is,
but
the honey situation. Barabar. See, Amay, you're right. But what I think, what Pranav is also trying to say, what I'm also saying is that uh, we will have to leave him. We will have to
correct.
let him be.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's what Rohit said as well in the PC.
The issue
But
is,
he will
the
need
issue
a
is
Pujara at the other end. That is the
exactly,
problem.
exactly. That is what I was coming. Okay, we
Simple.
cannot have
Simple.
more than one Rishabh Pant
Rishabh
in the
Pant
side.
in the side.
We
Simple.
cannot have another player who does that. Okay, because one
Right.
is
Correct.
enough for the team. Okay, and to
No, I think you
counter,
can have two, but it has to be someone who has both the uh, gears. Is
नहीं
someone
but
like Nitish Kumar Reddy was batting with?
वो ability होना प्रणव is very rare यार. वो ability
It is
होना तो
different.
अच्छा
I
है.
mean, he's in
हाँ.
a different league. But mera point is, if there was a Nitish Kumar Reddy, I think he would have not played that shot. Because,
Right.
Jaiswal is someone, he wanted to bat long. So,
Hmm.
what Pant was anticipating is he will take the risks, let Jaiswal bat the way he's batting at the moment, and that's correct thinking. Full marks to him for that thinking, because at that point of time, had you got two boundaries of Travis Head, suddenly things would have started moving on.
हम्म.
And I wouldn't blame him for that particular shot because वो आया नहीं properly. And it happens 9 out of 10 times he'll pull it off. Once it doesn't happen. But then the problem is why did he reach to this situation? That is what we have to reflect to. I mean, why did he curve his natural game twice in the same test match? And then he got out to a very stupid shot.
हम्म.
That is what needs to be rectified as a team क्योंकि आपके top orders से runs नहीं आते.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, correct.
if you
Because
look at it from that angle,
In both the innings, I think collectively he's played around 200 balls. अगर दोनों
right,
इनिंग कंबाइन करे तो
right,
200 के आसपास बॉल
at
खेला है
least
वो.
one
Around
150 तो खेला है.
150, 150 killer.
हाँ. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah, that's
that is
what.
the point.
Uh, Correct. But I still feel that with him going so well with the compact defense, maybe that shot could have been avoided considering the situation. Okay, for at least the 30 minutes post the tee, and then probably he could have fancied his chances. Also, it's not just the punt's wicket that has cost us this match. There were a
Jaiswal,
couple of others, Jaiswal as well, um, playing a false shot. No
needless
need
shot
at
है,
all,
कुछ भी नहीं
Yeah,
था उसमें.
yeah.
absolutely in his shot. And then we'll not talk too much about the controversy around his dismissal because I think it
That was clearly
ultimately
out. I mean,
That was
it was
that
out.
was
Yeah,
listed.
yeah.
that was clearly out. However, the difference between the KL Rahul dismissal and Jaiswal dismissal was purely the interpretation or the
Of the
personal
umpire.
judgment of the umpire. Yes.
Yeah,
See,
that
So
was
but let
Richard
me tell you.
Illingworth. This was Sharfadullah cycle.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
absolutely.
only
See,
So
difference.
but keep the
it's
umpires aside. Keep the umpires aside. Let me be
false shot.
very clear on this. See, the snicko is there to aid the decision making if visually the umpire is not able to make out कि क्या चल रहा है. ठीक है. तो अगर
Correct.
तुम लोग देखोगे एलबीडब्ल्यू में भी या फिर कॉट बिहाइंड और ये सब में पहले वो लोग इमेज चलाते हैं
Front
देन दे आर
on
सेइंग आई कैन सी अ गैप बिटवीन बैट एंड बॉल और
bat
द
and ball.
बॉल
Yeah.
इज वेरी क्लोज टू द बैट ओके हेंस आई नीड टू वॉच द स्नीको
Right.
नाउ व्हाट द
Yes.
पीपल आर सेइंग कि स्नीको पे कुछ नहीं था तो उससे फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है वहां डिफ्लेक्शन था
Sneaker picks up
हाँ
vibrations.
नहीं but
उसका
in the order of decision making Pranav Sneeko comes second
हाँ,
first is the
Sneaker
deflection
comes second.
फर्स्ट इज
Yeah.
द
Right.
डिफ्लेक्शन अगर इफ देयर इज अ विजिबल डिफ्लेक्शन जो कि था वहां पे बात खत्म है दे डोंट वी डोंट नीड अ स्निको ठीक है पीपल आर सेइंग नहीं
हाँ,
नहीं स्निको नहीं था और ये and then they're comparing the केएल का dismissal was a horrible decision there is no doubt about that but आज का I feel is too
It was out. It was
too
नहीं,
out.
much
but
of
It's just that
it was
it's
out.
just
But
that yeah. It's just that what happens is it's up to that individual umpire, and that's
hmm,
where
no, no,
the
it
personal element
also
comes
adds up.
in.
कि Perth में there were no better camera angles available. That also adds to the fact. क्योंकि I clearly remember Richard Illingworth asking for another angle, where the director said we don't have any other angle. But here there was square leg angle played, which actually played in the Australians' favor, right?
Hmm.
क्योंकि वो दिख रहा था कि clearly gloves पे लगा because there was a square leg camera. But here there was not in Perth there
Yes,
was not
but
enough
then
camera angles.
yes, but then if you don't have enough camera angles, right, you can't just simply go ahead and overturn the decision.
No, he
You
relied on
will not have
RTS, right?
conclusion, but he did
RTS
not.
में he saw a spike, and
Mhm.
it's a game of frames. You know, we have been on the receiving end of single frames
Hmm.
always. In 2019 World Cup versus New Zealand, Dhoni was only out by one frame. He was not out by inches. He was only out by one frame. So we have been victims of frames.
Correct,
But
correct, correct.
it's the problem is ki, what was the need of that shot? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I can understand KL
Absolutely,
Rahul got a
absolutely.
very good ball,
So,
but
so
Jaiswal ka
Pranav
need
and
ही नहीं.
Sagar, right? Pranav and Sagar, I've got two theories going into BGT. The first one is in every single test innings that India plays, we've got at least three batters who throw their wickets.
Yes.
And the second thing is, and I'd been telling this to Rishabh from the day one of this podcast, that our bowlers will win us the BGT, and the batsmen will win it
Will
for
let
the
us
Aussie.
down.
Right? And that's what has happened.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
Yeah.
exactly what has happened.
True. 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 True.
we
I
have not lost.
completely
But ठीक है.
We've
I
not lost,
completely agree. Completely agree.
but but
Imagine,
but at the
imagine, imagine Jaiswal, imagine Jaiswal not running for that non-existent single.
absolutely, we've
We
made
the
mistakes.
game would have been absolutely different. We
Absolutely, we have
wouldn't
made
have been
avoidable
talking about.
mistakes and
We wouldn't
handed
have been
over
talking
this
about.
test win to the Australians.
या हम लोग कोहली का फ्यूचर का बात नहीं करते होते क्योंकि कोहली जैसा खेल रहा था वो अगर वो रन आउट नहीं होता था वो खेलता था वो 50-60 मार के तो कम से कम 50-60 मार के जाता था
I
एंड
mean,
एवरीवन वुड
there's
बी लाइक
no ifs and buts का जगह in cricket. That's
हाँ
what I believe.
या
I mean, whatever
Correct,
happens is for a reason. But
right.
you,
And
if
हम
you
लोग
don't do the controllables well, then you lose the test match.
एग्जैक्टली
Simple,
एग्जैक्टली
simple as
एग्जैक्टली
that.
MS
Controllables को
MS
नहीं ठीक से
Pranav,
करोगे तो no. See, it's common sense, right? You can't control Sneeko, you can't control DRS, you can't control other things in your hand. But can you control your own instinct of playing that shot? Yes, you can control that. Can you control your instinct of going for a quick single? Yes, you can control that. So, can you control the field setting? Yes, you can control that. I'm just highlighting examples where India went wrong. They
या
could have controlled it. They can you control catching? Yes, you can control catching. You have dropped three catches. Australia caught better. They won the game. Simple. Michael One put out a tweet saying, Australia caught better. They won. 91 for 6 to 99 for 7. You might be chasing 250. You're chasing 90 runs more. So is that controllable? Yes, that is controllable.
yes,
So you did not do the basics right. You lost the test match.
yeah.
Simple.
There were some avoidable mistakes that we did. Uh, Having said that, there are also a lot of positives in this test match. Nitish Reddy being one. Also, we were 191 for six, and then we made 360, 370 odd,
Hmm.
which was commendable
Tail
effort.
back.
Yes, was he coming good as a batter? Obviously, I was not happy with the way he did not farm his strike today. Maybe he could have done little better because those are the small things where I think Australians were ahead. Australians, in fact, particularly Cummins, avoided playing Bumrah yesterday when he was just at the pitch at the
Credit
fall
to
of wicket.
Labuschagne for that.
Yes,
Credit to Labuschagne
that's
for that.
exactly where we did
He
not look into the small nitty-gritties. I have a theory behind these missing out on small theories. What I feel is uh, we are not really focusing from the team management point of view. We're not really focusing too much and counseling too much when the batter goes out to the to the middle, and we are not talking to them as much. Is what I feel.
that
But again, we are all outside.
no, no, of
But I
course
think this is
see
something
we are
which
all
Trustee did better.
absolutely nee, Pranav and I mean, we are of course working or rather we are talking on the basis of all the on the optics, on whatever we see and what are our perceptions. But one glaring thing, which just comes out very very clearly to me, is the tactical errors from India. Yeah, very very much. So just the simple things of Labuschagne shielding Cummins. Okay, uh, Sundar not shielding our tail today, and also in I feel Reddy could have been promoted today. I feel he should have batted in the top five. I don't know where. I don't know. मतलब, if you ask me personally, again, I'm just an amateur cricketer. पर मैं उसको 4 नंबर पे भेज देता था आज. अगर 4 नहीं तो 5 पे तो पक्का ही भेज देता था. I would have sent him over Pant for sure.
I mean,
Okay.
there's a theory where it says Washington Sundar should have batted at three. Yeah, I mean,
So there is
there are a lot
Washington
of
there's
Sundar
theories,
three.
but
नहीं,
there,
Washington Sundar three का see, Washington came in for this test match, but Reddy, if you see, he, of all the Indian batsmen in this entire BGT, he has looked the most assured.
solid, yeah,
ठीक है?
100%.
So if you have someone like that, उसको नीचे तुम ये करके, तो उस क्या कर रहे हो तुम? उसको
yeah.
वापस
And
उस प्रेशर में डाल रहे हो.
when you're playing
ठीक
him
है,
as
वो
a
प्रेशर में
purist batsman, really, you want
एग्जैक्टली
him to be in the team because you don't trust your top four.
करेक्ट. वो अगर टीम का बैलेंस वैसा हो गया है, वो सिचुएशन आ गया है, ब्लडी प्रमोट हिम ना. क्या जा रहा है तुम्हारा?
Maybe have
क्या?
him at five and punt at six. Why not?
या या या
Depending on the situation. But on
मतलब.
that point, right, Sagar, at
हम्म.
this stage of his career, just having been four test old, Nitish promoted at number four or five or six is something I personally believe should be avoided right now. The reason being he's just four test
I'm
matches.
talking only for
Maybe
this
in the
test match
future,
and only for today. नहीं, मैं आज का ही
yes.
बात कर रहा हूँ.
हाँ, कर सकते
If
थे.
you ask me Sydney where it should bat, I would still go with seven. ठीक है?
Yeah.
If you have six batters, I would still go with seven. But today's situation, what we wanted from the game and what his form coming on the back of 100,
Hmm.
उसको थोड़ा कम प्रेशर में अगर हम भेजते आज, ठीक है, जैसे
Correct.
2 डाउन या 3 डाउन में अगर उसको भेजते, तो उसको एक वो चांस मिलता कि कम प्रेशर में मैं खेल रहा हूँ, चलो मैं, टीम इज ट्रस्टिंग में, मैं कुछ कर, वापस वो 5 डाउन 6 डाउन के बाद अगर वो आ रहा है, वापस उसी प्रेशर में आ रहा है. एंड वी सॉ हाउ गुड द ऑस्ट्रेलियन बॉलर्स वर टुडे, how good the captaincy from Pat Cummins was. ठीक है, his field positions, everything, he was strategically ना, इस पूरा सीरीज में अगर देखोगे, Cummins has been leaps and bounds ahead strategically over Rohit and the entire
Not
Indian
over
team.
Bumrah. Not over
बुमराह
Bumrah.
नहीं, बुमराह बुमराह
Not over
वो
Bumrah.
अलग
Perth तो
लेवल पे
छोड़ो,
क्रिकेट,
after Perth.
वो अलग
This
लेवल
is
पे क्रिकेट
Australia.
खेल रहे हैं.
This is Australia
या
versus Bumrah, right? Really.
या वो अलग
Yeah,
लेवल
I
पे
mean,
क्रिकेट खेल रहा है वो.
Yeah. I saw a
एंड
video on YouTube where it said, "Oh, what Bumrah can't play or what? He's played so many times and saved us. He scored 35 runs in 1 over. Why can't he play? We have lost because of it." Hey, what crazy man!
why when
Chance nahi.
your top
Are you even
eight
looking?
cannot do anything, what does your number 9, 10, 11 can do? I can never understand this theory
Now,
of playing an extra batter overseas.
या
And I seriously support Kohli for this. He, no matter what, he played five bowlers. I wanted 20 wickets.
या
तुम लोग कुछ
या
भी करो.
यस
but
Man,
यस
you're even
right now,
including me.
no,
Yeah,
go ahead,
no, he
Pranam.
said, no, he said, including me, if we fail to score 200, the onus is on us. But I
एब्सोल्युटली.
want five bowlers to pick 20 wickets. And
या
I think that's where Rohit is different, right? He wants stability, he wants cushion of batting, forget about bowling. But जहाँ जहाँ top में आए हैं वहाँ वहाँ not having an extra bowler let us down big time.
वही ना, और
So
उसकी
But
वजह से
but
क्या
I
हो
would
रहा
I
है.
would also empathize a little bit with Rohit because see he's really had 1.5 bowler in this series.
अरे पर वो
हाँ,
गलती
but
किसका है, वो गलती किसका है?
But who's there in the
हमें.
tank? Who's there in the tank? Shami is not there. Prasid
hey, so
35
you're
goals.
not developed enough fast
Prakash is
bowlers, no? That is the
हाँ,
problem.
वही तो वही तो वही तो तू
You're
तू
not
गुरु भी नहीं है
developed.
किसी का.
You're
अभी
not having sports sightedness. Simple.
मेरे को बताओ तुम लोग, वो
But
मयंक
isn't
यादव
he a
आया था,
very
मयंक
recent
मयंक यादव आया था।
test?
मयंक यादव जो
He's
150
injured.
प्लस
He's
डाल रहा
injured.
था। ठीक है, बट देयर हैव बीन बॉलर्स इन एंड अराउंड। किसी को तो अपन ने सोच के एक, अब आज नहीं, 6 महीने पहले नहीं, 2 साल पहले, कि ये बीजीटी अपने को नेक्स्ट जाके खेलना है, तो अपन किसको आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं।
That is what
आई
they
डोंट।
were focused on white ball cricket. ना मैं आपको
Mukesh
वही बोल रहा हूँ.
Mukesh Mukesh Kumar आया बीच में. Then I don't know where he is right now. He also played
He's
India T
released for Vijay Hazare Trophy. He's in
yeah,
India.
correct. But the thing is, he is nowhere in the scenes. When I thought the way he bowled against South Africa, I thought he may
Yeah,
make the
No, I
cut
mean
and
these decks are not
will
tailor made for him.
and even with
It's
the
not meant for
available
him.
resources,
that's a technical detail, but at least yeah. Hmm.
even with the available resources, Amay and Pranav, why is Prasidh not given a game even after 4 test matches?
He bowled
Does
well in the NCG in the practice
Yes,
game.
yes
He
भाई,
did, he did.
टॉल है, हिट द डेक बॉलर है, अच्छा पेस डालता है,
But I
कुछ तो
think they
अलग है
backed
ना।
Siraj. अब बस हो गया. Enough of Siraj experiment at least for Australia. England में
But
he
या
does really well with that slope.
but the thing is, in the last innings that India bowled, he did well. In fact, this was his best spell in the
Hey, I
BGT
forget
Test.
about that. I'll still play Harshit Rana or Prasidh Krishna over Siraj because I want somebody who attacks.
या
मेरे
Mhm.
को बुमराह को सपोर्ट करना है. So I will play Harshit Rana. Simple.
और
Yeah, but
I would even say, even if you want to go with Siraj, I would even drop Akashdeep for that matter। ठीक है, I would leave out Akashdeep because Akashdeep अच्छा
mm,
बॉलर है, नो डाउट, बॉल्स इन एक्सीलेंट एरियाज और सब है, पर वही है ना, विकेट कॉलम्स में कुछ नहीं है। एंड वो विकेट कॉलम्स में आने के लिए ना, you need slightly different type of bowler। आकाशदीप मुझे पता नहीं, is not very different from Siraj in terms of what he offers। Okay,
They might
uh,
drop Akashdeep and get Shubman Gill next test. Surprise मत होना इससे. They might drop Akashdeep and get Shubman Gill next test
and
क्योंकि because the
Nitish
batting fails.
मतलब
also.
भाई, मतलब यू आर सेइंग कि सोच ही लिया है कि हमको 20 विकेट लेना ही नहीं है, या 20 विकेट बुमराह ही
No,
लेगा,
that is
दस
what the
दस
trend
दस
has
दस
been.
विकेट ले बुमराह ही लेगा। दैट्स
That's the
क्रेजी।
trend. I'm just
आई
speculating.
नो।
Could be wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, this is equally a poor series for
And
Sarfaraz
this
and
is where,
Prasidh.
नहीं, sorry Amay, I'm cutting you। this is where संजय मांजरेकर का जो कमेंट था ना, it was taken in a very wrong way, but then what he meant, that Nitish Reddy has created this problem and you know the imbalance, this is where, क्योंकि he is not a potential wicket taking fast bowler as of now for Australia। He could be in England, okay,
In
but
England.
for
Yeah,
Australia, but for Australia, he's not a potentially wicket-taking fast bowler. One, second thing, he has to be in the side. Agar he has to be in the side, he is taking up a all-rounder slot, and then you have two spinners who are also all-rounders. Where are your proper bowlers? आपके
yeah.
तीन
I
प्रॉपर
think
बॉलर खेले इस टेस्ट मैच में, तीन प्रॉपर बॉलर खेल रहे हैं, जिसमें से एक का फॉर्म सही नहीं चल रहा है, एक को विकेट्स नहीं मिल रहे, सो वी आर लेफ्ट विथ ओनली एंड ओनली बुमराह। सो दैट इज
correct.
वेयर द
I think if you ask why 5 times, right, it all boils down to the troubles in the top order.
या
With the
या
single digits,
almost like
the same mistakes, and also see Rohit doesn't have to manufacture or do the same mistakes all the time. He has his own knack of getting out, and that is what he is as a player, as a person. Um, he
I
is
don't
that way
think
player.
they would have played Washington Sundar this test match had the top five
Correct.
scored runs
Absolutely.
in Gabon.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you. And
And
that's where the
now
problem
again,
is.
going into Sydney, you can't drop Sundar, you can't drop Nitish Kumar Reddy, you can't drop Jadeja because you need two spinners. You
Mhm.
can't drop any of the top four. So the only scapegoat that remains is Rishabh Pant and make KL Rahul keep wickets.
I don't think that is
ये भी
happening.
करके
वो
देख
नहीं
लो.
होगा, वो नहीं
The
होगा, वो
worst is
नहीं
a
होगा।
side strain. The worst is a side strain to someone.
I don't know. Matlab, who do you drop? That is the question. Who do you drop? You say Yashasvi Jaiswal as a niggle after batting for 2 long days and then shift KL Rahul up and get a bowler? Don't know. Do you drop
Mm,
KL Rahul for non-performances this test and get a bowler? Don't know. Do you drop Virat Kohli for his performances? Don't know. Do you drop Rohit Sharma saying no, I have a side strain and get a bowler? You don't know. So it's just that matter of ifs and buts. Who do you drop? Who do you retain? Who do you play? You want 20 wickets, you want 400 runs, but you are not getting it from the correct people. That is the problem.
Yeah. Now
I
we are
I
actually running
think
out
I
of
think
time here. Yeah.
No, just to quickly, I think drop or yeah, I don't think and considering or rather just knowing the mindset of Rohit Sharma, I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes to the squad. I feel that Akash Deep may go out and either
Mm.
Harshit or
Or Prasid
Prasid
will play. Yeah.
might play. But other than that, I think then the clear message to Nitish Reddy is you are in this team as a batsman and you will bat either 5 or 6. That that is the only change I see in Sydney. और तो कुछ अलग नहीं होगा.
Yeah. And again, see, all is not lost right now. If we come good in Sydney, we still retain the BGT. It's the first series after 10 years that Australia has managed to win more than one test against us.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing, and that shows the consistency that this team has shown. There are a lot of players from this team who have played across 2 or 3 BGTs. So kudos to them. A lot of positives from this test, though
Mm,
we were just 2 shots away from securing a draw. If we would
mm,
have avoided them, we would have been sitting here with happy faces, I'm sure. It was just a matter of those 10-15 overs where we just lost the tactical aspect of the game. But anyway,
mm,
a day like this will bring in mixed emotions, will bring in mixed comments, and will have counter arguments, and we can endlessly talk on this until probably it's time for food and dinner. So, but let's avoid that. We'll do one more preview session before the start of the Sydney Test,
yeah.
and we will also let Pranav come up with his numbers, our chances in the WTC final, and also what he thinks are the day-wise predictions, scores, number of wickets.
I mean,
Uh,
whatever numbers I come up with, it's on the 11 on the park to do the job. But
oh,
yeah, I'll come up with numbers.
but we can
But
predict the numbers as well. We
yeah,
can predict
the
the
I think
lead
players.
it
is
is
disappointing, but it's not over.
it is now safe for us, Ame, to say that we have entered the RCB domain of
Probably that's what Varun would have said.
वरुण. We are missing वरुण कि अच्छा
Right.
अभी कैलकुलेटर लेके बैठना पड़ेगा.
But one point before uh, we, we we call it a day is these are two giants of Test cricket. They
Yeah.
play with each other like they play in such a fashion that the best of and the worst of both the teams is on display for us, our spectators, and everybody around in the world. And that's the beauty of BGT. And I hope the 5 Test series is a trend that we follow in the future forever.
Oh yes.
Yes. And now, after the Sydney Test, we still have, if we cannot win that series, that test, and if we still have to clench back, I'm sure we'll do that in 2 years. We'll not let them win in India.
We'll
Both of
see. I mean, I'm hopeful Sydney goes 2-2, but then
yes,
Sri
yes,
Lanka has a job to do for us.
absolutely, yes. So there are positives. I'm ending the session on a positive note.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, great. Uh, Thanks a lot for your time. Rejoice your evening. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ame. Thank you, Pranav.
Bye.
Great connecting and talking to both of you. Good evening. Bye bye.
Bye.